screening was sold out before I had a chance to buy it.
Yep.
Oh.
You know, we actually, it's kind of sad. I told a lot of people just show up. There's probably going to be a few no-shows. There was like a lot of no-shows. There's probably 30 seats left.
Was it a free event? Was it paid or free?
It was
Free. Yeah.
So here's you may not know, if you don't know this, here's a Gen Con best practice. People, for free events, it costs them nothing to register. You can register for 2 tickets. So people will register with the thought is, oh, well, I might as well get a ticket because if I can, I'll show up. The only exception to this that I know of for free events is Gen Con costume contest. Everybody shows up, and then is an odd chance that you might be able to get in. So if it's a free event, show up, you're likely to be able to get in. Likely, except for
some people were returning tickets because I was like hovering. When I got mine, it said 1 left, and I got it, and then I hovered for the next couple of days, and a couple opened up so I could get my girlfriend in. But most people don't bother returning them.
Yeah. And the Film Fest guys especially, every time they just go, we have a ticket over here. If you don't have a ticket over here, and then they'll scan one group in, and then they'll scan the other group and give them all tickets. Because for that, it's not really about having tickets, it's about counting attendance.
Yeah.
Gen Con doesn't really care about how many tickets were sold for a free event, they care about how many people actually went to it.
That's what you said is 100% true. 100% true.
I mean, it's pretty true for the
Paid events too.
Paid events they like to know because it's revenue, right? And they need to know how much to issue out if you're paying over and above. But for free events, it's really more about, do you fill the room because you asked for a room with 500 people and 30 people showed up. So next year when you ask for that, I'm going to give you a 100% room. That's how it's done historically. Anyway, what you folks think? Was it great? I was actually really sad because I didn't get to. I had to leave halfway through because I had to get up really early. But I loved it and it was good. So, anyways,
that's all right.
I don't know if there's going to be like another. If it's just a test screening. Is there going to be like another like type of screening like that, or available for people who didn't get to see it, or like backers or whatever?
Backers only thing going out next weekend because this weekend everyone's dead. There should be a backers only thing going out next weekend for like 20-something hours. To people who missed it or couldn't come to Gen Con, we will see it then. I presume there will be a place to give feedback.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat that for the cameras and everybody that can't hear that over the microphone here. There will be a backers email if you're a Kickstarter backer for Darkness Falls. There will be an email going out next week sometime that will include information about when you can watch a test screening just like we did.
Only unfortunately, you will not have the advantage of Mark live DJing the event and equalizing the audio.
Well, hopefully Andy will go through and do some audio normalizing before you get that version, because there was a few spots where it was like, oh, that's loud.
The jump scare moment.
I certainly jumped.
Unintentional jump scares.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh my God, Brent.
It was glorious to see like everybody. It's like getting the family back together. It was pretty great. I really liked it.
It was like that filming it. Like it was such a blast because it was like all of the like Matt managed to wrangle like everyone who's ever been in the film and give them their role again, or like find them a new role, and Connor Marks flew out from Broadway to be in it for a day. Like it was so great.
It was like that was pretty great. It was actually surprises. I was like, oh wow, that's so great. It was good. So for those of you who haven't seen it, please try to make the effort if you can, if you are able to. So, on that note, Mark.
Rennie.
Hey.
Hi.
I don't know. Let's start with some questions, I guess. I mean, I have things to say, but Hi.
Why is Chris Odie, who did not go to last night's midnight premiere and got a whole night of sleep, not here right now?
Chris Odie is he had opened the booth, and and he is really busy trying to coordinate loadout ahead of time to get. Chris is incredibly organized. I mean, I'm very blessed. We're very blessed to have him as a part of the team to organize the convention, because he just takes it on. He's amazing.
He said he's on his way, and so it's like I keep looking for him to be coming in so I can be saying something to razz him and something negative about how he's late and tardy, but it's like I gotta get the timing right.
Just a reminder, repeat question.
He put his best
What?
people on.
Repeat question.
Oh yeah, sorry. The question was, where's Chris?
Where's
So-
But
Chris?
specifically, where's Chris,
Specifically-
who got a full life?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, where's
specifically
Chris?
where's Chris, who, unlike Christian and Maggie, who are also on their way, or me, was not at the showing last night, and so he was able to go to bed early. Although, knowing Chris, he probably actually didn't go to bed any earlier than we did. He was probably like schmoozing Gen Con people and talking to people about things so that he could like get us better rooms and better booths and things like that next year, which is what he does.
Yeah.
Spends a lot of time doing at convention.
I did authorize him today to renew for next year and to request another booth space, because my entire mad plan is to take over that entire back wall.
I want the spot right across from us.
Yes, that little end cap there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really good. That'd be really good.
That's good.
Next question. Yes.
So do I need to beat up so we can finally put the shows from last year and this year online?
Yes, good question. Of course.
Repeat the question.
The question was who is the charming
No, but-
gentleman who is going to be getting this stuff online next year? And that's not me. That's one of the
No.
capable.
The question, to be clear, the question was, who does AK need to beat up so that we can get the shows from last year onto the streaming service?
Yeah.
Let
So.
the record show that everyone pointed to Rennie immediately.
Yeah. So I went to actually answer that question and complete it. I went to Chris this morning and I said, the things that need to be printed, the printer still has not printed them. Can you please give me the email addresses of all the people who are involved so that I can send out the DocuSign today? And it's all queued up, ready to go. I just need them, so Chris will be getting that to me today. He just wants me to.
Yes, I will.
I'll be sending it today, and then they'll push them. And once I have that, then I have all the releases. Then we can go from there. So basically, the big thing is we want to get all of these Gamers Live shows not only streaming, but we also want them on discs for those of you who want them at home. So that Hear Me Today, that is the plan. It's all ready to do. We just need to get some of these releases knocked out. So next year, hopefully we'll have those on it'll be double disc, because we want to do both Blu-ray, DVD combos. It's just silly to have like two different things. So
For our younger viewers, a disc is a circular shape.
What does DVD stand for?
Digital video
disc.
disc.
That hurts.
Next.
Next.
Versatile.
Yeah, if y'all haven't figured it out, we're old enough that the original gamers, when we printed them, I had them done up on the brand new, very cool media called DVD, as well as VHS. We're old now.
I actually have a story about that. I was in my cast and crew shirt yesterday at Starbucks, and a guy came up and said, "Hey, my buddy gave me a DVD
That's right.
in Korea 20 years ago about this little fan film called The Gamers. Does your shirt have anything to do with that?" And I'm like, "Yes."
As a matter of fact, my shirt does have something to do with that 20-year-old DVD.
That's the best. I love that. All right. Next question. And let's not have any violence against Rennie for the next question.
Was there a violence against Rennie point?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, the first one was violence against Chris, the second one was violence against Rennie.
Sorry, there wasn't really violence. They love you.
We were asking why Mr. Got a Full Night of Sleep was late to the symposium this morning.
Guesses. What do you think I was doing this morning?
Working.
Organizing.
Yes. Actually, I was organizing. Guess what I was organizing?
Load out.
I was organizing loadout. I was organizing lunch, and I was organizing next year.
You're like a pre-con.
Or maybe you said something and we're just repeating it back. It's easier.
I tried to have
But
this
it was
thing
still just
back.
the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, no, it was little details like this. Some of you find these things interesting, some of you don't. But as you are aware, it costs money to get a badge. And we have certain badges that we've already got, that we get complimentary, and we have badges that we would have to pay for, such as extra exhibitor badges. So many of our team members use the 4-day badges that we get comped. which is great, but it means just like you, they can't get to the booth until 10 a.m. at the exact earliest. And so I wanted to make sure that Sharon was not stuck alone this morning and stick around for the first few minutes so that things would be good. And they are. Yay! So booth sales have been up this year, actually. I don't want to get into all the revenue stuff, but they've been up every day of the week. Knock on wood. I think we have a good shot at 1 4 for 4, which is great. And since I'm apparently taking up your attention now, the sharing of space with Looney continues to go really well. What we've learned is that there's there isn't a lot of initial overlap between fan bases, and so one of the things that's been great has been that the folks who are coming in for their product are very excited about that, and then they wind up talking to our staff who's running the booth, and then frequently we're able to then not convert them, but give them alternatives, or not alternatives, additionals. That's what it is, additionals. And so we were able to get several folk then who had never heard of us before to show up for the live shows or get interested in the films and things like that. And so it's just, it's always an adventure to figure out how to make this thing work. And what I think we're learning, especially here at Gen Con, is two of the real pillars for us are the live shows and the booth. And so finding ways to expand how we do those and make those, I don't want to make it sound like we're just trying to, that it's all about money or something, but we have to figure out how to pay the bills to do anything. Because obviously, as we all know, it costs money just to live, which doesn't actually make sense. But anyway, it doesn't. It's like, hey, congrats, you were born, good luck. So things are going really well with that. We're feeling really solid. So.
Speaking of, just sort of tag on to that, Chris at the very beginning, Chris at the very beginning, this is better. Yeah, Chris at the very beginning just said at the beginning with Looney, there wasn't a lot of overlap. And part of it is just, there's people who love Looney stuff, there's sort of a demographic, but then it's just, they have card games, a particular type of casual card game that's really fun, right? And we haven't really had casual card games. So we're talking to Looney about that, could that look like? But more importantly, being able to expand an audience and grow an audience is really important. And historically, what's been really great is the DG and ZOE community has been sizable and very passionate about the stuff that we do. It's a community, and then people outside the community go, oh, this is really funny, I like it. But they're not necessarily part of the very active community. And but outside of the community are other people who may not have as much of an interest in that space, and I want those people to be exposed. And sometimes they go like, gamers, I'm not a gamer, forget that. But they might actually like it. I know people who've exposed to it liked it. So the goal is you need to introduce them to something else they might like. Different types of games, different types of activities, different other things. And so this next year, that's part of my initiative, is sort of creating alternate things. And that's why if you were on Friday nights, Friday nights.
I don't know what day it is now, Rennie.
Seriously.
It's the last day of
I
Gen
literally
Con.
thought yesterday was Sunday. I was walking around all day thinking it was Sunday. I don't know why. Maybe I was hoping it was Sunday. But on Friday night, I mentioned that there's three sort of creative projects that we're working on this year, and there might be more too, but one of them was Talky, an animated series that this fall we're going to start releasing episodes every week. I'm really excited about it. It's from, we're working with Peter Haynes, who is the sort of producer, creator of AFK. So if you haven't been onto YouTube, or actually you all have, I'm sure, you've probably seen the For the Empire shorts with the two stormtroopers that talk, right? And it's really funny. Well, he also created a series called Talky. So we are now working together to expand it, and so it'll be a joint venture between Peter and us. And there'll be various writers who are involved, great writers that some internal to ZOE, speaking to
So if you kind of lean so the microphone is between you and me as you look at me, or you lean the other way like this, so
it goes away.
Then we can still hear you.
This is like one of those.
Yeah, you kind of talk around it like that.
Anyway, so Talky. So this is an example of exposing an audience, right? Getting new people who may not know all the other stuff we do. we also have a couple other games that we're working on to sort of expand the audience. And there's additional content I mentioned, Incognita's Infamous Adventures. We're going to actually get them onto our site, and we're going to be producing season 2. And that's very exciting. Again, people who love the superhero musical genre, we're going to be doing that. It's brilliantly fun. It's Dr. Horrible meets superheroes. It's great.
We need to love the Christian in that.
Yeah. Yes. I think there's several people in this community who are really, really great musical people, and I sort of really look forward to seeing them. So.
It's more like, I would say, Dr. Horrible meets Microsoft Word.
Well, yes, that.
I have no idea what that means, but it sounds fantastic.
Yes.
Also, like
It looks like you're trying to make a movie.
Has anyone seen AFK? You guys seen the AFK series, the
Yeah.
AFK show? It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That all the stuff that was on the Fantasy Network that I, don't have a stake in. That was my favorite thing. So like, I'm excited about working with Peter because AFK is so good.
And Peter, he's so chill.
Yeah.
I threw together a small writers team with him, and we are on this Zoom meeting, and you would never get the sense that he drives things or that he's this, amazing creative visionary. Like, he just doesn't emote. He doesn't project this drive things. He's just chilling, cool dude in a loose mood, right? He's awesome. And yet, we all started throwing out ideas, and he'd go, that's interesting. Well, how about, and then he would just give us greatness, like just spouts greatness. And then the next day he threw out a new script based on one of our ideas. He said, I was just noodling, here's a script, and we were all laughing, and it's brilliant. So he's going to be great to work with. I'm really excited for all of you to experience it, because I have, and it's amazing. Next question. Or do you have anything to say, Chris?
I'm curious what I missed on the Gamers Live conversation, to be honest with you, because I came in.
The question that was asked was AK asked who he needed to beat up to get previous years.
Oh, God, it's always violence with AK. I don't understand that.
The only way I can get things done.
Violence is not the solution, friend. It's just not. No, so one additional follow-up to what I will throw on that, because I know that Rennie was talking about the desire to get it out there. Something that's been very close to my heart for reasons that are probably obvious to you because of the whole, doing the show. I really would like to go back through the years and work with cast members who have participated and who are interested in doing as such, to either do kind of some retrospective work collectively or on each show. Or at least on whatever shows we can get people from the cast who are interested in doing that. Because it's funny when you do those shows how regularly you don't remember what the hell happened. As soon as the show is over, and it's always fun when the audience members afterwards, congratulate you on something, and you're like, and this is right after the show ends, and you're like, I said what? I hope that wasn't offensive. Oh no, you liked it. Okay, that's great. Like I don't remember that. But it is kind of fun when you go back, and I've gone back and watched a lot of our shows just to kind of learn from the tape, so to speak, and try to be better at the craft. And it is interesting how when you do that, you do start remembering like, oh, this is why I did that, or like here's what I was thinking, or here's the behind the scenes thing right then. I still remember this one where it was one of our earlier shows, and a bunch of pot jokes were being made, and I ended up getting to a punchline right before, that was a fly, right before Nathan did, and he was so annoyed at me for it that he kicked me under the table. And so I was watching the recording, I had forgotten about the kick, except that I saw on camera me deliver the joke, and then if this is Nathan, deliver the joke and then be like, under his breath, he's like, I wanted that, you bastard. But I just think that might be a little way to kind of enhance the experience of doing the shows, because they are such a fun thing. They're so collaborative and so in the moment, and it's so I don't know. It's just fun to work with that group of people and to see how that has evolved. It was wonderful to have Matt back last night, in a cameo, and just to have Vancil around again was just a delight. and I'm glad that he was able to be out here for that. Yeah, so. So I have now twice in the last 12 hours been walking through a hallway at Gen Con, and people have started cheering back to me. And in fact, it just happened on my way here. That's actually, the other reason I was a little bit late is I stopped to take a selfie with someone because I was walking in the hall and a couple people recruiting for Southern Indiana University started going, "Shadow Daddy." That's cool. I like that. It used to be that if someone recognized me and walked down the hall, they'd be like, "Hey, flop and rest." So, I'm going to call this, a win. This is definitely
That's definitely an upgrade.
Kurt, you got something?
So you mentioned AFK, and so there's a couple of questions, I guess, in general. I have seen members of AFK on Viva the Dirt League stuff, and I don't know if there's a director, so if you guys have any association with them at all. And then also, as a patriotic American, it is my duty to conflate New Zealand and Australia, and I have no idea where One for All fits into that region of the world. So do you guys know anything or have an association?
I'm going to repeat the question for everybody there. So the question is about AFK has members of AFK involved with Viva the Dirt League, and so the question is whether we have any connections there. Yeah.
The answer is no. No, not as of this moment. No.
But I do know both Australia and New Zealand are on a map. And I can tell their flags apart.
No.
Can you tell their accents apart?
Yes. Sometimes. 50% of the time I can tell their accents apart.
Right.
Depends on whether natives are speaking them or other people like us are trying to replicate them. I can tell them apart. I can't do the difference.
It's fun when an actor gets complimented on their accent, and they're like, "No, that's how I speak," or like they get panned for their accent, and like, "Well, it's actually my normal accent."
Yeah.
Right. It's like when Gillian Anderson was actually, I'd seen her in some show and she was speaking with a British accent, and my wife was watching it, and I said, I didn't, that's a pretty good accent. She goes, "No, actually, she is actually born in Great Britain. That's actually a natural accent."
Didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Right?
I was just now years old.
Yeah.
I found that out.
Yeah, I know.
One space will be 10,000.
Okay. All right.
Are there any Star Wars projects in the works?
Any Star Wars projects in the works?
Oh, that's a good question. There's always Star Wars projects in the work. There always Ben always has a thing, and so the answer is we actually have something we haven't released yet. And it's sitting in the queue. And so when we talk about things that we want to release, we try to release things in order to drive interest in other things, right? And so it's sort of there waiting. And then it's, well, maybe we should release it. But yeah, there's always things, but there's nothing at this moment actively in the works. But I've told Ben, I said, look, what would it take to do a thing? And then Ben says, well, what do you have when it comes to, money? And so then I'll say, well, what about, this much? And then it's, okay. So that's always the conversation. And then, they get busy. So I'm going to let them know that we should do something this year. I would really love to see another Star Wars thing.
Yeah, new product always drives sales for older products, so timing is
absolutely.
always crucial when it comes to release.
And I think Star Wars needs some momentum because what it just is. I also think it's very timely. I think season 1 and what was said and all this stuff is sort of timely, and I would love to sort of see some momentum on that. So that's a good question. Thank you.
You're saying that an anti-fascist movie might be a good thing to think about right now?
That can't possibly be true.
So I have a question, Rennie.
Yeah.
What is the status on release dates for, say, Journey Quest 4?
Yeah. Last year I said, hey, I'll have something for next Gen Con, right? And then things happen. So, no, so there's 4 things. There's 4 things that are in this, the critical path to getting JQ4 out. So what is the release date? I don't have a specific one. What is the hope period? It's this autumn, and this is what it looks like, okay? So in order to have it, I needed the credits for everybody. In order to get the credits, I needed to be able to get the backer kit wrapped up. But backer kit was just trickling in. 3 months, and it went from 60% to 70. It's just, and I keep on trying to prod. And I didn't want half the people to be credited, and I didn't want to take their names from the Kickstarter if they didn't want to use their names, right? So there's just this consternation. So there's that. So finally I did I closed out the backer kit so that I could get the funds, because then people wanted all this other stuff that I need to manufacture. But there's also, so as an example, one of the things that's outstanding for manufacturing is a calendar. Well, I had to update the calendar, which took about 35 hours of manual time to update. And so I went to go send out 2 weeks ago and I thought, oh wait, the copyright said 2024. So I went to change the copyright and realized that the calendar's for 2025. So I'm like, oh no, it's another 30 hours away. So then I worked through that, right? So anyways, there's all of these little blockers. So that's one. So it's the merchandise and there's two other things. I could actually just put the credits in there and then send out to production. I just talked to Ben 3 days ago, and Ben's doing the mastering, and Ben actually texted me and said, I got the workflow, send it to me when it's ready, and I'll get it to you within a very short period. Great, because we were worried about what that Blu-ray mastering process is. It's a little more difficult than it is for doing DVD. Yeah, it's a little painful, but they feel very confident about the workflow now. So that's good. But coloring and audio was some of the feedback that we'd gotten last year. And what it takes to do coloring and audio is, well, a person to do it and the resources to make it happen. And for those of you who work on, it takes a lot of work. So I thought, well, I could release it the way it is, and people are like, it's okay. I really just want it to I just want a little more consistent. So I had a person that I worked with on my very first film, Wolfsbane, who they do the audio for like Tron Legacy, for Young Sheldon, and I had dinner with them last week, and I was just mentioning JQ4, and he said, oh, I really have nothing to do. I'd love to help you. I go, there's no way. He said, no, it's fine. I'll take some spins at it, So I have a person doing audio, which is awesome, right? And then I had somebody else throw a colorist at me that I'm waiting to hear back on that. Once I have that, the cycles will probably be about a month before I get all of that back. 4 to 6 weeks is what it probably will look like. And then from there it goes to mastering. Credits are under. So that's why I say this fall. It's sort of this critical path issue, if that makes sense. That's the best I can give you. And believe me, if there's anybody who is losing sleep over this and literally crying over this and feeling sick over this,
it's Andy.
Yeah. But it really is me, because I'm the blocker. But
Hey man, if your colors doesn't work out, let's talk.
You heard it here, folks. Okay. Thank you. I'll tell you what. I don't hear from them within another 7 days. I'm paying one more time. So, thank you. Regarding that, is there any questions around JQ4, concerns, issues that you just want to vent? I am open to hearing that. I just want to let you know where we stand.
Please. Just please.
Yeah.
I didn't get to go to the midnight screening last year. So
You
I'd
slept
like
last
to see
night.
it.
You haven't? Well, okay. There is a link and it's still up.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a link. Yeah, it's in the.
I don't think I watched.
Oh.
Soon. It'll be soon.
You might be able to talk to them. All right.
Is there a chance of, once it's ready to go to mastering, getting a download link even for people who are going physical, so that they can watch before it gets delivered?
The question was, is it possible that once it goes to mastering, will a download link be available for people who order the physical disc? I think everybody gets the download link. I believe that's the case. And yes, 100%. Because of how long it's taken and all the problems, there's a bunch of extra things I'm doing to just sort of make it nice for everybody, because it's just been way too long. Yeah, and that's certainly one of them. Next question.
My questions are largely lore-based, but there's also a creative writing question. Which would you like to hear?
As Laura as in David's brother? Wow, that look was just like, wow.
Related this song for those kinds of comments, Rennie.
For those of you in the back, and
The
on
question
camera,
was, she has lore-based and
Creative writing.
and creative writing. You know what? Whatever you like. I'm open to either.
Because I've sort of phrased it as though I'm speaking to the oracle with a sequence of statements beforehand. I wrote it down.
Game prepared.
Oh,
Nice.
In the first Gamers, the books shown are 3E D&D, but the rules obviously aren't. In the Shadow Menace, they say the first Gamers group was playing first edition Farther Roll, which is definitely a setting, but maybe a system as well. In Darkness Falls, the books are also 3E or 3.5, but in Darkness Falls, this isn't a spoiler if you haven't seen it yet, the Pathfinder books are shown. Statement. The doyless reason for this is probably one of sponsorships, etc., business reasons. But does this imply in universe that the game worlds can be accessed or / controlled through any RPG? Or are we hand-waving the specific system and letting the assumption stand that the game is something that the viewer is familiar with or will absorb?
So, as that happens, there is someone
I know what, yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
that maybe is better equipped to address those questions. Matt, would you come up and join us, please? Everybody, Matt Vancil,
All right, let's unpack that. Hi.
I'm sorry, there's
Hey.
colons.
No, it's fine. So for the original gamers, let's start with that. We had no budget and no rights to any games. So what we did was we took, at that time,
$500. That's
we had
a
500 times. For if you were a college student in 1999, you could buy like 600 gallons of gas for that. I'm not kidding.
Or like 750 pizzas almost.
Yeah.
From
12,000 stacks of ramen. We had nothing, so we begged, borrowed, and pleaded for costume pieces. Mark lent us stuff from his own collection. Evan Shimono, the original Shadow, did as well. And so we used the game books we had, which at that time were second edition D&D. And because we didn't have the rights to them, we wrapped them in brown paper bags so that that wouldn't be shown.
the Guile stat.
The Guile stat, right? And then so it had a generic, not D&D, but D&D adjacent enough that it made sense. For Darkness Rising, we actually had the rights to D&D 3.0. And they let us film at the Wizards of the Coast office at the time, which is the whole Pizza Jitsu sequence took place at Wizards of the Coast's corporate offices, because Jen Page, who plays Luster in the fantasy world, worked there at the time. I was an intern there in the summer of 2000. For Gamers 3, we had and still have a very good relationship with Paizo, who's the main distributor of the films in the hobby gaming industry. So we switched to Pathfinder. And also at that time it was a different, I don't know if it was different ownership at Wizards, but it wasn't the same deal.
The sale had happened
After,
Right.
sold it to Hasbro.
So Paizo was very friendly, and Pathfinder is 3.5 is Pathfinder. I'm not going to get wade into that.
Same.
And then same situation for Darkness Falls was just continuation. You have friends at Paizo. Paizo helped us with the Kickstarter, sending word out for that, and the exchange there was, there's like a glimpse of a couple of books, so we'll have those be Pathfinder. As for whether any game can access the world, if it serves the needs of the story, yes. I mean, it's open-ended. It's one of those things where it's like I honestly hadn't considered that, but if that is the waveform that needs to survive while the others collapse, then it will be. So we're open to that.
I feel like it's the Farther All world. Like if you're playing in Farther All, you might get connected. It doesn't matter which rule system. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like it's different means of accessing the same place.
I mean, Masters in the Metaverse?
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
Masters of the Metaverse
Those
made
are
it there.
totally
So there,
different
oh my
things.
goodness. So there is canon precedent for different game systems
Yeah.
accessing the world. So therefore, yes, canon now, yes, any game system can make it there.
Wow.
Even
Yeah,
World of Cinnabar.
Extension to that was, have there been, or is there any plan to maybe see a Demon Hunters, the Comedy of Terrors, being played by the gamers, or did we miss the book anywhere? Was it?
Ooh, that would be fun.
Please repeat the question for the camera.
So the question
Sorry.
was, is there any plan or idea for Demon Hunters,
Or has there been a?
or has there been Demon Hunters connections into Farther All, yeah?
Or
There-
just like the gamers or whatever.
Or the gamers, yeah?
There have been cameos. Silent Jim was in the background in Darkness Rising. We've had the Purple Ninja appear in each of the Gamers movies in one point or another in some form. So there is and I think in some of the deep lore we allude to it, like in the Farther All Companion and in some of the modules.
I mean,
there.
No,
It
Easter
would
eggs,
be
that's
a-
what I was.
Easter
eggs,
yeah.
Did we miss any Easter eggs?
Well,
Okay.
that
There's
actually
actually several.
justifies, like you said, if it is that any game system sort of can sort of open up this, then it would make sense that you would see, the Purple Ninja like in last night.
Well, and you just even think about kind of a practice. I guess I'm going to say a practical, real-world example of this. Our lives are odd, everybody. As a group, our way of thinking is a little outside the box. All of us in this room, but I mean, we kind of take it for granted. Just to use D&D as an example, but I mean, if you're playing in Fairy, for example, and you are using 3rd edition or 4th or 5th or whatever, you take for granted the fact that it's the same world, even though the system is different. So, like, I recognize that that's not the same as the films or anything, but I mean, what do I say? Dragonlance, any of those things like that have been around for a while, that you have examples of people interacting with that world through different systems, which again is a practical, real-world example of such things.
Well, and I'll say, so ever since No Pants Steve introduced me to Matt about 25 years ago, that's now his official name,
Yeah.
I have been chatting with Matt, and Matt's been regaling me with like stories from the magic box that is his brain, about like ideas and concepts and how he wants to do things in the future, and some of them end up happening, some of them don't. And so, if you've read his book, The Stray and the Hole in the Stars, great book. I have a lot of things from that book mixed up with stories Matt told me about how he was planning to do things in the past, and so I'm not exactly sure if this is in the book or not, but the hop jockeys have traveled between Farther All and Demon Hunters and have interacted with both sides of those stories, and so there's already connections in Matt's brain at some point. I just don't remember if that actually ended up in the book or not. So,
I don't know if Matt
Matt
knows
doesn't
it.
either.
Yes, in that Silent Jim is Jim in Black.
Great.
So that's the connection there.
So does that answer also your creative writing question?
It does not. The creative writing question was a different question altogether.
Okay, well let's hear that. We only have 10 minutes left, and so I also want to honor other people's questions, which there may not be. But what's your creative writing question?
Okay, it is, back to it. In Hands of Fate, why was the romance plot between Joanna and Lodge relegated to the director's cut, but Gary's energy drink-induced violent psychotic break left in the standard cut? The latter was funny, but the former was a better foil for the A plot of Cass and Natalie navigating themes of nerd entitlement and earning a female partner.
You are correct that it does fit better. It came down to logistics in that the Lodge and Joanna storyline was extractable from the rest of the movie, whereas the Gary Chibi-chan one was not. And the cut of the movie, the original one, I think was over 3 hours.
Yeah.
And we tried, and this was on me. We tried to do too much with this. The story was too big. It should have been, like, in retrospect, if we were doing this again, I would suggest let's do this as like a 4-episode limited series, like a 4-hour thing, where every subplot could have the amount of time it needed and whatnot. But just the logistical challenges of Gamers 3 was, okay, we've got 5 individual storylines that we need to resolve or introduce, because we've got 5 main gamers. Plus, when you want to get Jen Page in there, because it's not a gamers movie without her. Plus, we've got the subplots going on in the actual different game world, which doesn't connect the way that the RPG world does, where, you know, it's not Cass is both Brother Silence and Cass at the same time in the game, and Cass in the real world. Myriad does not appear in the real world. Cass can't speak to the card characters, you know, there. So it just, that was the most difficult, most challenging write, just because there were so many pieces that had to interlock and wound up with more than we could really fit into a regular cut feature. So it wasn't a matter of we didn't like the storyline, we loved the storyline, the plot. It was what makes the most sense to release in a general cut to a general audience.
And you know what, making movies is an interesting thing, because you write these stories and you have all these threads, hopefully you have lots of threads, right? But they come through, and then you shoot the entire thing, and you realize that, well, shoot, it's 3.5 hours. And to be realistic, that could be really cool, but most people aren't gonna sit through it. You have to adjust pacing, some of the deliveries aren't right, and then suddenly you realize, wait a second, we need to cut a bunch of these lines, but we need to keep the whole, the integrity of these plot points. It's a different piece of art than telling or writing a story, right?
The editor does the final draft. Like, even if you were from Gamers 4 last night, that was one of the shortest scripts I've written, tried to keep it down, keep it logistic. I've learned that I write too big. So this one, that script was about 103, 104 pages, which should correspond to 104-minute runtime. It was 2 hours and 6.
Well, and that was even with, filmmaking is very much related to making sausage.
Yes.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, oddly enough. But like, I even remember the few days I was on set for my role in the film, I don't want to give any spoilers for folks, but one of the scenes, as we were preparing to shoot the scene, myself and some of the other people who were participating in that scene, we were informed immediately before the shot about some lines of dialogue, some pages of dialogue that were excised right then, just for logistical reasons based on how the shoot was going. And like it isn't something you will ever notice, like as an audience member, like you won't miss it because you didn't know it was there. Like, it all does flow, like the changes work and all of that. But it was one of those things where, as a writer, in that specific, especially in that kind of industry, that kind of world, like, it isn't, I don't think I'm oversharing anything, but like, Matt said something really beautiful to me last night about recognizing kind of the limits of what you have control of in that world. That, that you can write the most, what to you is the perfect script, but ultimately that is not what is going to wind up on film.
It's about trust.
Yeah.
You got to trust your team, and you got to trust that the right thing's going to happen even if it's not your vision.
Yeah.
And that there's a point where, like, original gamers, one person could write and direct. It was small enough for that. Same thing with Darkness, same thing with like the first season of Journey Quest. But as the stories get bigger and bigger, it stops being a solo act. The idea of the auteur filmmaker is a myth, really, beyond a certain stage. And that took me a long time to learn.
You're gonna, slightly pivoting on that, I mentioned AFKs for the Empire. I recommend it highly on YouTube. You need to watch it. There's this massive arc. One person, plus a couple of actors, one person is essentially doing all of the work, the directing, the animating, the writing, and then the actors who he works with. It is amazing, and this person is not making much off of it at all. And you think, well, wait, why is this better than what Lucas is putting out in animation right now? Why is it so much better when literally he's probably made $10,000 over the last 4 years of making this product, when Lucasfilm spends $100 million on it? Well, part of it is production costs. There's just so much more as you sort of increase scale. And so when we're making movies, we want it to look better, right? We want it to sound better. We want, really, actors who maybe have made, or whatever it is, right? But it costs more. And suddenly that also creates this engine, this vehement that becomes challenging to run.
And again, and also, it's very true, thank you. The older you get, the more experience you get. I mean, there are two types of currency that you can put into art like this, and one of them is actual dollars, and that's what the studios can do, and the other one is time. And you know, when I was an unmarried, you know, childless dude with a $500 apartment rent that I was splitting 2 ways, I could put any amount of time into this stuff now.
Yeah.
Now, not so much.
When you have kids, like I know, remember, you had a baby like in the middle of these production processes, and I did too. And it just takes a lot, right? It just takes time. So, yeah.
I know that we're going to probably do other questions, but I also know time is limited, and so I very selfishly want to remind you all that if you're looking for something else to do this afternoon, we are debuting, playtesting, trying out, workshopping, insert whatever verb you want, a new show today at 2 p.m. Down on the streaming stage, 101 here in ICC. It's what my character would do, and we're very excited to see how this plays and to get feedback from the audience. So just a reminder that that's happening today.
And just to tag on to that, if you haven't seen the 3 new pins that we released, they are brilliant. Tiana, who's now in charge, Tiana's now in charge of the Gen Con art show. She did the designs, and she's done a lot of great work for ZOE in the past. Please swing by the booth and check out those pins, because they are wondrous.
This is Tanel's purple ninja pin right here.
The 16-bit Purple Ninja. We have one called, it's actually a series, so on the 16-bit, every year, we're going to create a 16-bit character for a new pin, and then we're also, it's called Cheat Codes. We have a series called Cheat Codes, so you gotta go check that one out too. So they're all, and then there's Burst Fireball. It was great. Yes, question?
Not a question, just a comment. I saw that the 2 o'clock show today is still in some places listed as Loot Shoot.
So the name has gone through many changes. I'm still not even fully convinced I want to use the one I just told you.
But I'm just saying, all I'm saying is that
2 p.m. and 101, that's the part I care about.
You know,
Looking it up in the app, it will say Loot Shoot.
Yeah.
If you ask Chris, he'll give you one of about 6 different names. Just roll with it.
Loot, shoot, riot.
There's a
riot.
It's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to change it.
I think he has a nice
The original idea was I was very heavily inspired by the TV show Chopped, and I had this idea of like the items that people would be building their characters coming in and on, like sliding down the chute through some animation piece. And so it would be the loot chute, because I was focused overly so on the idea of like a loot box or a loot crate, and those sorts of titles are already taken by other IP. And so I was trying to come up with something, I was in a hurry, those words rhymed, it was probably late, I hadn't finished grad school yet.
I think this is at least like the 5th name change, because like the original concept was inspired by something a long time ago that eventually became the Ultimate Dungeon Showdown card game.
The original title was Ultimate Dungeon Showdown, because that title's now been used for something else.
So-
Can't use it.
I mean, just effectively, Loot Shoot is sticky. It's in your brain now. Like, people won't forget that.
Yeah,
It
they're
rhymes,
not
it's got
shooting
4
it.
O's in it, like,
It does if you spell it correctly, or it could. You'll appreciate this. Can you guess how I kept spelling loot every time I wrote it down?
actually, Loot Shoot, L-U-T-E-C-H-U-T-E sounds like a bard position.
more of that if you're looking for it and you're not seeing the name that you just heard, 2 o'clock at the location is the important part. But don't think you're in the wrong spot if you see a different name.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You-
That's great.
You'll see the normal people there taking your tickets. When you see us, you're in the right place.
Let's
2
see.
p.m., whatever it's called, 2 p.m. and 101.
Do we have room for one more question? Yes?
Zoe,
Yes.
Zoe Con when?
Zoe Con, what?
Zoe
When?
Con when?
Oh, Zoe Con when? I'd love to have another Zoe Con. We asked that last year, and I need somebody who is willing to take over the process and work through the logistics of making working with me to have it happen. So
What?
Not allowed another heart attack.
I have other people who
I'm not
have asked,
going to
and
let
other
it
people who are
happen.
willing to put in the work, but I need a lead to basically produce it. I have other people to support that. So,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's have a conversation.
He did it for his company for lunch.
Yes, it's great. I would love to
Anybody
see
have a last short question before we have to wrap up in another room?
Yes.
If you're gonna try to distribute you guys like drugs to your friends and family, what's the best? You guys got an easy system where it's
Well, my wife's a pharmaceutical rep, and she has processes for that.
So the question was if we're going to try and distribute our content like drugs, what's the best way to do that? You may have seen for the last 15 Gen Cons, Sarah Odie, Chris's wife, handing out flyers saying, we make funny movies about gaming. Some of us were filling in for her this year at the convention. We usually have flyers that have a QR code on them. All of that directs to zombieorpheus.com. If you go to zombieorpheus.com, right away, scroll down, all of the movies, all the content is available to watch for free right there. And that is the best way to get people to know about our content and find us. If they use Discord, if they're younger, send them to our Discord. Otherwise, going to zombieorpheus.com is the best way.
We also have a link tree now, so linktree/zombieorpheus, and it literally links to absolutely everything that we have. So.
Yeah, can you explain Linktree? Because the reason I haven't used it since you told me about it is I don't know what it is.
Oh, shoot. Okay. LINK, link TR. So link TR.
We don't know how to spell it, Rennie. We don't know what it is.
I'm just telling you this. A link tree is just a place where mostly a lot of artists use it as a way to aggregate all the different ways to get through their content or to get access to them.
Social aggregation.
It's
It's
one
just-
button.
yes,
that leads
social
to one
aggregation.
button.
Gotcha.
It's a
Thank you.
website
Microsoft
that
is one button that makes a bunch of buttons.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
website that has a list of, here's our Insta, here's our Facebook, here's our Tumblr, here's our store, here's our link to our movies, here's a link to our events, here's that.
Contact us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, anyways, if you're on the Gen Con side, like here, zombieorpheus.com/GenCon, every year that will be sometime in, after we find out when all of our stuff is, links to all of the shows with their generally current names, times, and locations. When work gets notified that they get changed, because
If he changes them
Uh,
during the
again,
convention,
for-
they're not getting changed.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put this on the microphone for the camera. If you are at Gen Con, if you're coming to Gen Con, it is zombieorpheus.com/GenCon will give you all the information you need about things that are happening at the convention and is kept updated, and you can find that QR code at the booth as well.
Yeah,
Alright,
we get the
we-
thing.
we gotta bail.
We got to bail. Everybody, thank you very, very much. And I also thank Matt. Thanks for coming over.
Tree will be available at the booth for autographs later if you need an autograph from Tree.
Or
No
Lap
re-
Band
no relation to
plenty,
Linktree.
apparently.
The Demon Hunter, not the Link Tree.
Not the legal tree.